Well, I love to work. I mean, when I was just a kid, this was always my dream to travel all over the world and to write songs. That was my gift. And I just always wanted to make it into a business. And year in and year out, a lot of my dreams that I planned, they come true. So you have to be responsible for them. And so I just try to keep up with the times as far as whatever's going on out there. And I hope to never retire. So I'm up there now. But I've actually have enjoyed every bit of it. I wake up every day with new dreams. So I feel like I'm just starting out. And how my mama put those rags to use. Now, there were rags of many colors, but every piece was small. I didn't have a coat, and it was way down in the fall. Mama sewed the rags together, sewing every piece with love. She made my coat of many colors that I was so proud of. While Mama sewed, she told a story.
In Tennessee's Smoky Mountains, living as one of 12 children in a wooden shack, Dolly Parton's life started humbly. She has called herself a backwoods Barbie. With bleached blonde hair, a voluminous figure, and sparkling rhinestoned outfits, her appearance may look fake, but inside, Dolly is anything but. She is a true American treasure, the epitome of Southern charm. Her iconic music and sense of humor have endeared her to the world. But her career hasn't been all glitter and glam. Dolly has had to show real dedication to get to where she is today.
Well, I've been around a long time. I don't know what kind of a legend I am, but if being around a long time makes you a legend, then I guess I am.
On January 19, 1946, Dolly Rebecca Parton was born in Locust Ridge, Tennessee. She was one of 12 children born to Avie Lee Caroline and Robert Lee Parton. She grew up in a one-room cabin that housed up to 14 family members. Living in relative poverty, some children had to share beds, with up to 3 or 4 sleeping in the same bed each night. Dolly has shared memories of winters when the inside of their home was as cold as the outside. Dolly's father worked as a sharecropper in the Tennessee mountains and took on construction jobs to make ends meet, while her mother, Avie, was a homemaker. Despite being illiterate, her father had remarkable business acumen, which Dolly credits to her own business savvy. She attributes her musical talents to her mother's side of the family.
From a family where a lot of country poor people from big families didn't get a chance to go to school, get an education. My dad being one of them. They couldn't read and write, and it was kind of crippling to him.
One Christmas, Dolly recalled the children agreed to forego their gifts so their father could buy a wedding ring for Avie. Dolly recounted, "I must have been 8 or 10 years old, and my father had never had a wedding ring. There were a lot of kids around that time, and Daddy decided he would finally buy Mama a wedding ring. Of course, that meant nobody else would get any gifts. That cost money." Despite the lack of presents, Dolly remembered it as one of their happiest Christmases because of the joy they brought to their mother. Although the family lived in poverty, Dolly has always spoken positively about her early life, emphasizing the love, kindness, and understanding that made them happy, despite their hardships. These experiences later found their way into her music.
And even though music came natural to me, my mother's people were all very musical, I was the one that really wanted to write all those, all the stories. So like Coat of Many Colors or Jolene, rather than just writing simple songs, I really love to tell a story, and I become whatever I'm writing about. I become that character.
In her song, Coat of Many Colors, Dolly sings about her mother stitching a coat from rags and telling her the biblical story of Joseph and his coat of many colors. Despite being mocked at school for her ragged coat, the song reflects the warmth and love of her family.
My very favorite personal song, for personal reasons, is my little song of Coat of Many Colors, because it's a true story about a little coat my mother made for me, and it really talks about poor people, that you don't have to have money to be rich. You can be rich in love and patience and kindness and understanding, and the fact that my mother made the little coat with love made it very special.
Oh yeah, it's true, we had no money, but I was rich as I could be in my coat of many colors. Mama made for me, made just for me.
From the age of 7, Dolly showed an interest in music. She taught herself to play a homemade guitar and performed publicly on local Knoxville radio stations by the age of 10. She recorded her first single, Puppy Love, at just 13 years old. At the Grand Ole Opry, she met Johnny Cash, who encouraged her to trust her instincts in her music career. Breaking into the country music scene, which men then dominated, Dolly was determined to carve out a space for a female perspective. After graduating from Sevier County High School in 1964, she moved to Nashville the next day to pursue music full-time. She signed with the Monument label, which initially tried to market her as a pop singer. Undeterred, Dolly wrote several catchy pop songs. The same year, Dolly would meet the love of her life, Carl Thomas Dean, outside the wishy-washy laundromat in Nashville. He would instantly spot the 18-year-old from his white pickup truck and fall in love. Dolly fondly recalls their early dating years. When I met my husband, he wanted to take me out to dinner. He pulled up to the drive-in window and got our food at McDonald's. He only likes to go places where he can be comfortable. By 1966, the pair would marry in Georgia. The ceremony was very small, but with only Dolly's mother, the preacher, and his wife in attendance. They eloped because Dolly's record label, Monument, was concerned that marriage would interfere with her music career, particularly with male audiences. When asked to reconsider, Dolly responded firmly, "I ain't waiting."
And we've loved each other, and we kind of grew into, to a lot of the real deep feelings that we share. And he's very independent, and I want him to do what makes him happy. He wants me to do what makes me happy. We're not jealous of each other as far as what, our personality or of other people.
In 1967, Porter Wagoner helped Dolly's career change forever. Dolly was hired to replace the former star of his TV show, Norma Jean. Initially, the switch was unpopular. Fans of the Porter Wagoner show were unhappy and very reluctant to accept Parton, at times even chanting loudly in the audience for Norma Jean's return. With Wagoner's assistance, however, Parton was eventually accepted. Parton and Wagoner have undeniable chemistry. Their voices blend together beautifully.
Thank you, Don. We have a sort of a special show this week in answer to an awful lot of requests, a lot of good requests. Dolly and I are going to do all duets this week. Got a whole bunch of them for you, starting with this one. It's a lesson to live for the learning. Later sang, later sang.
In the wake of
Because of her success on the show, Wagoner convinced his record label, RCA, to sign Dolly. However, RCA wanted to protect their investment by releasing the first single as a duet with Wagoner. Yet before long, Dolly was more of a success than Wagoner himself. In the early 70s, Dolly topped the US country chart with her single Joshua before releasing one of her most beloved albums, Coat of Many Colors, in 1971. It was clear that Dolly was emerging as a solo country star in the making. Of course, the most iconic Parton song is Jolene, which topped the country chart in late 1973 and reached the lower regions of the Hot 100. The song walks the line between dignity and desperation. Dolly has said in more recent years that she wrote the music years before when her husband spent a little more time with Jolene than he should have been. She put a stop to it and certainly got rid of that redhead woman in a hurry. In this clip of Dolly singing the song on the Porter Wagoner show, she looks directly at the camera, and you can see and hear the genuine emotion behind the lyrics.
Let's listen as she does one, and I think you'll really like this. Listen close to it. It's called Jolene.
Please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him just because you can.
Parton has said that if it had not been for that woman, she would never have written Jolene and wouldn't have made all that money. So she says, "Thank you, Jolene." Parton has always respected Porter for helping her into the country music scene. But she knew that in 1974, after 7 years on the show, it was time for her to leave. Dolly walked into his office and played him a new song she had written, "I Will Always Love You." In this performance of the song on his show, it is clear just how emotional Parton is about the split.
Of the way, and I will always love you. I will always love you.
Wagoner did not take the news well. After the split, he created a lot of negative press about Dolly. He wanted to sue her for $3 million, claiming she had breached her contract. Dolly and Wagoner settled this agreement out of court, with Parton eventually paying him $1 million. At this point in her career, she did not have this kind of money. It would take her years to pay him back in full. Dolly has said, "He got as much out of me as I got out of him. Let's put it that way." Porter was very much like my dad, brothers, and the men I grew up with. They were just manly men, and a woman's place was where you told her to be. And so I would always stand up to him because I had my own talent. I didn't come here just to be the girl singer on Porter Wagoner's show, and we fought like hell, and he showed his ass about it rather than letting life flow. He had to sue me, and of course, that broke both our hearts. And you know, looking back on it now, he hates that he did that and has said so. Although Dolly felt betrayed by Porter, she forgave him. They became friends again, and she was even at his bedside in 2007 when he sadly passed away. Dolly's iconic look, a blonde wig, full makeup, big bosoms, and a tiny waist, is synonymous with the singer. Her iconic catchphrase is, "It cost a lot of money to look this cheap."
glimpse of what goes on here. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. Yeah, and this is fun. I think people always love seeing people get all dressed up, and we're just like kids. I felt like I was getting ready for the prom. I said, how big shall I make my hair? How far shall I push my boots?
Unlike other stars, Dolly has always been honest about her love of plastic surgery enhancements and proud of her massive collection of fabulous wigs and extremely form-fitting, bedazzled stage outfits.
When you go on the road, what is the one thing you cannot be without when you tour?
Oh, my wigs and my makeup and my clothes, but especially my hair and makeup.
In the past, she has referenced that she went for her trademark trash look of blonde hair, makeup, and tight-fitting clothes from the local town tramp. She claims that she isn't a natural beauty, but more of a plain Jane, and when young, she yearned to be glamorous. Talking about her look, Dolly has said, all country girls have an idea of what glamour is, and a lot of them get that through magazines or movies. But we didn't get to go to the movies, and we lived way back then, so my look was inspired by the town tramp. Dolly said that she thought that woman was absolutely beautiful, as she looked like a movie star, with her piles of bleached hair, red lipstick, long nails, and high-heeled shoes.
I've got to ask you the fashion thing here, because you and I almost look like sisters,
We
don't
do?
you think? We've got the full-on blonde
we
hair.
certainly do.
And well, I wish, but how many
You look better than yours than me.
No, I trade any day. How many parties did you get invited to tonight, and how did you choose Vanity?
I didn't even get invited to this one. I'm just crashing the party.
You're crashing the
I'm coming
party?
with my manager, Sandy.
Oh,
Actually,
well.
I did get invited, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah,
See you.
it's good to see you too.
In the mid-1970s, Mac Davis received a phone call from Dolly, who wanted advice on what to do next, as she was struggling in her country music career after splitting from her musical partner. Davis suggested that she reach out to Sandy Gallen. The rest, well, that's history. Sandy Gallen and Dolly became inseparable. She said, nobody could quite get how the Christian Southern girl and the New York Jewish boy could have so much in common, but it was real. Because Dolly's husband, Carl Dean, did not like to travel, Sandy, who was gay, accompanied Dolly around the world. During this period, with Gallen's help, Parton began embarking on a high-profile crossover campaign, attempting to aim her music in a more mainstream direction and increase her visibility outside the confines of country music. With her 1976 album, All I Can Do, which was the last album she produced with Porter Wagoner, Parton began taking more of an active role in production. Dolly aimed for the pop market, but hoped to keep her country fan base happy too. By 1977, she was on her 20th solo album in just 10 years. She had written every style of country song you could think of. Pop music was limitless in a way that country music could never be, in terms of sound and commercially too. Jolene proved she could take the country with her to the mainstream, and on her next album, Here You Come Again, she attempted to find a place in both worlds. This crossover album became her first million seller, topping the country album chart and reaching number 20 on the Billboard 200. The title track topped the country singles charts and became Parton's first top 10 single on the pop chart, reaching number 3. The next release from the album was the double A-side Two Doors Down, It's All Wrong, But It's All Right, which topped the country chart and made it into the pop top 20.
a date. Is there a hairy-legged boy that I could go with? How about you? Two doors down, they're laughing and drinking and having a party. But two doors down, they're not aware that I'm around. Oh, but here I am, just crying my heart out, feeling sorry that they're having a party just two doors down.
The album also brought her first Grammy Award for Best Female Country Vocal Performance. Parton started to expand her audience, wisely turning her talents to television. She was a natural and was often on talk shows and TV specials. But it was Parton's big screen debut that propelled her into the mainstream. Her charming, effervescent personality translated easily to the screen. Dolly sparkled.
Well, I wanted to be a star, but I always thought of a star more of as a singing star, and being on the Grand Ole Opry, being on stage and performing. But I figured that if my career went the way I wanted it to, that I would eventually wind up doing the movies and Vegas, and it was a real fun thing.
She played a brassy Southern woman, Dora Lee Rhodes, in 9 to 5, opposite Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda.
Well, I think Jane is a very complex person. I think she's very intelligent, very creative. I find her very caring, but I find her also very shy and almost naive in a very sweet little girl way. And it's a side of her that I really was surprised to find.
9 to 5 became the highest grossing comedy film of the year, earning Parton an Oscar nomination and a pair of Grammy Awards for the now classic theme song. In the film, the co-workers decide to hold their sexist, egotistical, lying, hypocritical bigot of a boss, Dabney Coleman, hostage and transform their oppressive workplace into one of equality.
Well, it was great. At that time, nothing like that had been done in the movies, and we weren't sure if it would do well at all. But men also loved it because it was very entertaining, tying up the boss. It had a lot of fun stuff in it. And that was my very first movie that I ever made, and it did make a big difference, and it has helped a lot through the years. I love Jane and Lily and Dabney Coleman, the ones I performed with in the show. We've always stayed close through the years.
The hilarious, over-the-top hijinks couldn't disguise the film's more resonant message, which has only strengthened in the current era of Time's Up and Me Too. In the music video for the hit song, you can see different clips from the film that show women taking back power in the workplace.
Man's a ladder, but you got dreams he'll never take away. On the same boat with a lot of your friends, waiting for the day your ship will come in and the tide's gonna turn and it's all gonna roll your way. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living, barely getting by. It's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and you never get the credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it.
Mr. Hart spends his days harassing Dora Lee by telling her she's much more to him than just a dumb secretary. He lies about sleeping with her and purposely knocks pencils on the floor so she'll lean over and pick them up. He insults Judy and bullies Violet. After learning she's lost out on a promotion to a man she trained, Violet confronts Mr. Hart. "Spare me the women's lib crap," he replies. To hide the fact that they're holding their boss hostage, the women have to run the business as best they can.
No, I was excited about it because it was the kind of thing that was so close to my own personality that I didn't feel like I really had to act or worry too much about it.
The film was the catalyst for a TV series in the 1980s and a Broadway musical, which transferred to London's West End. 9 to 5 continues to resonate with audiences.
Thrill. I feel very honored and proud.
How did that happen? You're already an icon. You don't have to go back to Broadway and do this. What?
Well, I've never done Broadway. This is the first time I've done anything here. And so when Bob Greenblatt, who produced the 9 to 5 musical, he asked me if I'd write it since I had written the theme song 30 years ago for the movie with Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin.
Amazing. I think people are under the impression that she kind of popped in and popped out. She was an integral part of our daily rehearsal, and she was there. I think she just recently left maybe 3 or 4 days ago. She was there for every preview performance, in the wings, giving us high fives, the greatest support. And, you see the glamour and the wigs and the lame and the nails, but that woman is smart. And when the music starts, her head goes down, the wheels start turning, and she can give you a new lyric or a new melody in 20 minutes. And I just have the greatest respect for her.
exploit it every night.
Finally working with Dolly Parton.
You know, she's brilliant. The thing that's brilliant about Dolly is this is a woman that does not need to do this. She wants to do this. It's a first-time experience for an icon. And to have shared that with her and collaborated with her, and it's her first time collaborating like this, to have people sit down and say, I need this or I need that, where she's not used to that. And she's been so open to the process and really gotten into it.
Well, I feel great. I feel proud and honored and humbled by the whole thing. It's one thing to get a chance to write something for Broadway, but it's another entirely to be nominated for a Tony Award. So it's been a great thrill for me.
In the 80s, Dolly starred in another big Hollywood movie, Steel Magnolias.
You laugh, you cry, it brings you closer to family, it brings you closer to friends. It's about family, love, and friendship, and people and life in a small town. And I think it's just about the human heart.
She was in the pop charts with 9 to 5 and another classic hit, Islands in the Stream. This duet with Kenny Rogers knocked Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart off the top spot of the Billboard Hot 100 and is often credited as the best karaoke song and top duet of all time.
Making love with each other, islands in the stream, that is what we are, no one in between, how can we be wrong, sail away with me, to another world, and we rely on each other, from one lover to another,
Dolly has a very close bond with the other female country singers in the business, such as Tammy Wynette and Loretta Lynn, and made the collaboration album Trio with Emmylou Harris and Linda Ronstadt. Longtime friends and admirers of one another, the singers first attempted to record an album together in the mid-1970s. Still, scheduling conflicts and other difficulties, including the fact that the three women all recorded for different labels, prevented its release. The album won the Grammy Award for Best Country Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal.
To know him is to love him. Just to see him smile makes my life worthwhile. To know him is to love him, and I do.
This decade also saw the establishment of her 150-acre Dollywood theme park. Dolly, who grew up in the area, bought an interest in Silver Dollar City in the Great Smoky Mountains of eastern Tennessee. As part of the deal, the original park reopened for the 1986 season as Dollywood. Parton said she became involved with the operation because she always thought if she made it big or got successful at what she had started to do, she wanted to come back to her part of the country and do something great, something that would bring a lot of jobs into this area. Dollywood has approximately 4,000 people on its payroll.
I think any time that when you become a star and when you get in a position to help, you should help. And I think you should find charities that are near and dear to your heart.
One charity project close to her heart is the Imagination Library, which Dolly started in 1996 in Sevier County, Tennessee.
Where we give books to children. From the time they're born, they get a book a month until they start school. And that way they can learn to read, because if you can learn to read, you can self-educate yourself if you can't afford to go to college or whatever. There's something, some subject you can find to read about for whatever you want to do.
The initiative expanded across the U.S. in 2000, then set up in the UK in 2007 and Australia in 2013.
We're very excited about the Imagination Library being here. I got to make sure I say your town right. It's Rotherham? Did I get it right? I've been practicing, because it don't look like that on paper. In the States, anything that's H-A-M, we have to say Rotherham, right? I like Birmingham. Anyway, so we are very happy to be here. And, of course, the Imagination Library
is a program very dear to my heart because this is something we started back in the States about 10 years ago. It was something just for my people in my county, in my hometown, and of course it just kind of took off, and now it's all over the United States. We're in about 700 counties in about 42 states, and we've given away 4.5 million books this past year, and in about 2 months, we're going to be giving away our 11 millionth book. So that's a lot of books to go out to a lot of kids.
Dolly also appeals to the younger generation through the help of her goddaughter, Miley Cyrus.
So anyway, I have a lot of fans, from very young ones, from the Hannah Montana show, which I've performed on, Miley's my little goddaughter, and of course I've performed on that a few times. And so we have that little young group, and then all of my fans that kind of have discovered my music, and the younger folks, and then there's the older folks like me that have followed me for a long time. So I've been very fortunate that I've had a lot of fans through the years.
Dolly had acted as a mentor to Miley's dad, Billy Ray Cyrus, when Achy Breaky Heart came out. Dolly put Billy Ray on her tour as an opening act. There were even rumors that the two were romantically linked, and even though this was untrue, Billy Ray recalls Parton telling him, "That's the stuff that sells records." From that moment on, the two became very good friends. The two gelled as they had the same roots. They were country kids at heart. When Miley was born in November 1992, Dolly told Billy Ray, "She's got to be my fairy goddaughter," and wanted to help her as much as possible. Since then, Dolly has shared her wisdom and even the stage with Miley and appeared alongside her in various projects. Miley's breakout role was in the Disney series Hannah Montana, where Dolly played her Aunt Dolly. She appeared as a guest star in several episodes, dispensing sage advice to her young niece. It is clear from this clip that the duo were a natural fit.
Dad, I'm not in the mood to see anybody right now.
Well, fine. You don't want to see me, I'll just turn that bus around and head on back to Nashville. Look at you, my goodness. You are sprouting like a rose bush after a month of rain. Only not as wet and twice as pretty.
Doggies, I like it. I might use that in a song.
Well, fine. First one's free, next one you share profits with me.
Parton credits Miley, at least in part, with giving her a fan base that spans generations. She has said, "It's been so amazing that I've had all these little kids that grew up with that and now have their little kids. They keep bringing me back through the generations, and I love it."
Positive energy. How great and energetic and wonderful you are. Where does that come from? You seem like you're always having a good time.
I love my work. I love what I do. I'm just thankful I've had the opportunity to make a living at what I love to.
Dolly's work spans over 6 decades. Musically, she's been extremely influential as well, with countless artists following in her footsteps by recording various versions of her songs. In fact, when Elvis Presley wanted to record Dolly's song, "I Will Always Love You," Parton was approached for the publishing rights. But being a bright businesswoman, she declined the request, as she would be signing away her royalties for the song. "It was my most important copyright," Parton said. "It broke my heart because Elvis didn't get to sing it, but I had to hold on to it." Even though the king couldn't record the song, Dolly revealed that Elvis privately serenaded his ex-wife Priscilla with the tune as they left the courthouse following their divorce. Of course, 20 years later, pop star Whitney Houston turned the song into a bigger hit. This cover put Dolly in the spotlight as a writer and an artist, and opened people's eyes to Parton as the talented writer she is. In this clip, Whitney transforms the song into a real powerhouse ballad.
Dolly, welcome.
Well,
It's so
thank you
lovely
so
to meet
much.
you.
Good to see all of you. And this is a very exciting day for me. We got all kinds of things going on. And look, I don't have a bit of mud on me so far. Miss Dolly, it says.
Dolly's legacy was cemented with her 2014 headline spot at the Glastonbury Festival, which is often credited as one of the best performances at the festival of all time.
Well, it's great. Of course, when we were coming in this morning, I was looking at the mud. That was not different from me. I grew up in the mud. My daddy was a farmer. I grew up in East Tennessee over in America, so that was how we made our living on a farm. So I thought, well, this is not all that different. You know, mud is mud wherever you are. But anyway, I just saw all the tents, all the people, and I thought, wow, this is exciting. This is fun. So I'm just proud to be part of it. I can't believe after all these years I've never done Glastonbury before. Well, I think usually some of those old sayings like, to thine own self be true, you know, those things, I think if you really take those and know who you are and know what it is that you want to do and just stick to your dreams and don't get sidetracked with other things, usually that'll, if you've got the talent and you've got the ambition, that'll usually happen. So I'm not the Dalai Lama. Somebody says, oh, Dolly, you always just look so happy. I said, that's the Botox. And the collagen.
Obviously, Dolly, you're immaculately turned out already. I wonder if you're going to change before stage. Can you give us a little chat through what you might be wearing?
Well, I'm going to wear white because I figured with that many people, I want to be seen from way out there. So I figured I would probably wear white because I thought that looked good with mud. If I got some on me, brown and white usually looks pretty good together. But I usually enjoy wearing white on stage, so I thought, well, I kind of probably will wear that. So it's just the opposite of the brown. Okay.
Parton became the real showgirl with highlights from her discography, from Two Doors Down to I Will Always Love You, and in this clip, her classic, Jolene.
I've been around a long time, and I've been in and out of this part of the world many times through the years, so I think people just kind of feel like they know me. I feel like more like a family relative than a celebrity. I think they just kind of think, oh, Dolly's come home, because I always say that I always see somebody I love in everybody I meet, like a family member. Somebody always reminds me of somebody else, but I just love people, and I've always been so grateful that people have accepted me and loved me all through the years and followed my career and kept food on my table, so to speak.
Dolly is an icon. Longtime fans know that she has been apolitical, but has always hinted and expressed a strong voice for equal rights in her writing.
I had grown up with men. I have 6 brothers, and my dad, my uncles. I was always close to, you know, all the men in my family. I've known a lot of great men. So I never was, you know, I didn't think about it that much. Of course, I've been hit on all my life. You know, any young girl would be. But a lot of that I just took as a compliment. But I never, you know, I never did anything to try to get ahead in the business. You know, I never slept with anybody unless I wanted to. And I'd never put myself in a position where I tried to stay out of those positions. And if I found myself in that, I was lucky that I had a great personality and a great sense of humor that I could joke my way out of a lot of it. And then if I couldn't, I have enough temper and backbone that I would kind of get out of it some other way. But I did work. It was a man's world back then, and I enjoyed it. And so people were kind to me more than anything, so they kind of looked at me like a sister or something, it seemed to me at the time. But I didn't care how they saw it. I was there to do a job. I had something that I felt that could make us a lot of money, and I would say that. I have something that, you know, I think we can all prosper from, and I've been lucky.
As a female singer born in a particular era, mixing political views with a popular career was not customary. Nonetheless, it has been obvious through songs like Just Because I'm a Woman and her roles in films such as 9 to 5 that Dolly supports equal rights and provides comfort and hope to many through her work.
And And I think that I just live my femininity. I mean, I'm not a, people say, are you a feminist? I say, I don't know. I don't know exactly what that means. I'm proud to be a woman. I'm proud to be a woman in business. I'm proud to do what I do, but I like to just live it. I like to be an example. And you're right, I wrote some of my first single on RCA Records back in the 60s. It was called Just Because I'm a Woman. And it addressed the issues that we're addressing now. And then all through the years I've written, you know, these songs that were to strengthen and to empower women, but just people, you know, in general. In the new 9 to 5 musical, my first line in the new song that kind of took the place of the fantasy scene, it says, I love men, don't get me wrong, I've always had one of my own. Many good men I've known, but then there's you, meaning Mr. Hart. So I've known a few of them, but I've known more good men in my life than I have bad ones. And of course, we all come across those people.
Dolly continues to inspire younger music stars, including Carrie Underwood, Taylor Swift, and Casey Musgraves. Parton's influence can be seen throughout the 21st century music landscape.
You're gonna wreck your family name, 'cause what goes around comes back around by Friday's football game. Yeah, we only got one sheriff, but we all know how to keep the peace. Oh, don't you forget it, as big as we're getting, this town's too small to be me.
Musgraves told Billboard, beauty, sex appeal, brains, wit, humor, beautiful songwriting, meaningful songwriting. No apologies for who she is. LGBTQ advocate long before it was even a thing or trendy or whatever. She's fearless, and I admire her spirit.
Well, I don't try to tell other people what to do. People are always saying, what kind of advice should you give? I say, I don't give people advice. I have information. If you want to know some facts and if you want to know, you know, sometimes how I dealt with something. But I do believe that everybody has a right to be themselves. Everybody has their own path and their own road to walk, and everybody's talent is different. And I think that we have to kind of base, you know, just how we look, how crazy, you know, the people look, all the, you know, the images that, you know, the people have. It's what they feel right about in themselves, and I think they have a right to do that. So it's not up to me to tell them not to do it, because who am I to tell anybody what to do? I mean, I look like, you know, the town tramp, and that's how I patterned my look after the town tramp. So who am I to tell somebody else how to dress or what to do?
Now, Parton has her own museum, a taught class at the University of Tennessee titled Dolly Parton's America, From Sevierville to the World, and even her own Netflix series, Dolly Parton's Heartstrings, with each episode based on one of her iconic songs. For every generation since the baby boomers, Dolly Parton has been on our minds and in our hearts, whether as a punchline or a headliner. Over her 50-year career, she's perhaps never been more prominent in pop culture than she is right now.
Well, I'm proud of all of it, I have to honestly say, because you never know when you start out how you're going to be known or thought of when you're older. You hope for the best. But I'm really proud of the Imagination Library, the project that I've done where we give books to children. But I've been very proud of everything that I've accomplished, to be in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, because my songwriting is very important. But I won't mind being known as the book lady, but I want to be known for my music as well, and to have left something great in the world that wasn't there before I came along. I think my mom and dad would be very proud of me. I always think they're looking down and saying, you go, girl. We knew you could do it, and we love you. And I love them, and I owe it so much of my personality and my heart and my humble being to my good parents.